Why don't you tell everybody what happened?
Just doing my job at Nellis. We had two things we did. We did the telephone monitoring. Like
Where's Nellis?
It's in Nevada. So I'm working at Nellis Air Force Base for the Det-3, and that's where the program, they have a shop that of 4 guys, I was one of them, that would go out and monitor for the program. So anyway, the other side of my job was also doing monitoring for everybody else that wasn't in the program.
And when you say monitoring, what do you mean by that?
You're actually plugging into, like, just like you heard, tapping telephones, all the ways we all the telecommunications type. We made sure that we listened to radios, we listened to radio waves, all that, and we gather it all in. And what we're tasked to do is, say a commander at Wright-Patterson, we went to do, it's always a 2-week mission mostly, unless it's part of an operation like Desert Storm, and you stay for a month or 2, and then you change out teams. But 2 weeks is the standard. So we go 2 weeks to Wright-Patterson. We gather all the information we can on all the telecommunications means, and we also have an OSI team that's trying to sneak in the doors and get into the facilities they shouldn't be at, just to test the security. And that's all we're there for. And at the end of the day, on the last Friday, we go in and we talk to the staff. And then about 90 days later, we put in a final report and give that, again, back to the staff. And that's kind of how we rolled. So we're going up range. For those kind of things, we don't do the telephone monitoring. When we go up range to the test range at Nellis, that was what we called red forcing. And what our job was there is we were also trained to do combat ops against our own pilots so that we could help them survive in a wartime environment. And that was done at the top of Black Mountain. And that we call that there's a little schoolhouse there. And then if you walk up another few yards, there's really those big golf ball looking radars or satellite dishes. We're up at the very top. But anyway, that's where we were heading this one day. So we all packed up. We're in Beatty, Nevada, which is the Burro Inn. I can tell you that's where we always hold up at. And we take off from there every morning to go do the AM and the PM push. That's what you call it when the war is on. You call it the push. So we had one in the morning called AM push, one in the afternoon PM push. So we were all heading up for the AM push in a convoy. There's 3 vehicles, probably about 3 to 4 people per vehicle. I'm in the lead vehicle with the ranking guy. He's driving, and I'm right behind him. And then there's another gentleman in the passenger seat across from the driver, and then there's a young lady next to me. And we're all going up. And the ranking guy had been there the week before, and he had seen the craft fly by, because that one's out there on the internet. You can pull down the video. There's a report that goes along with it.
There's a video that we can watch right now?
Right now, yeah.
What would he search?
Search for, let me think, Nellis Test Range UFO 1994.
Dun, dun, dun. Who filmed this?
This was filmed by the operators on the range, because we're putting these pilots in a risky situation by playing war with them, but we're training them. So if there is any kind of a mishap or a pilot or plane goes down, everything needs to be recorded. So this is
it right here?
Yes. So this video is being taken by one of these cameras that's up on the range. And along the bottom, you see that this is also trying to lock on to the craft so it can, follow it as it goes in and out, because this is the kind of way that you want to track if there's a craft that is having problems. And
This is moving very erratically.
Right. So this is what the ranking guy saw.
Can I pause you for a second? This tracking, is this manual, or is this like some sort of an automated system?
It's an automated system.
So the automated system is having a hard time
locking on
to it.
Yeah, if it locks on, you'll see a big spike, and that means that it finally locks on. Right now it's trying to, but something is stopping it from locking on. And they think it was the craft.
It's moving like crazy, side to side, all over.
There's actually a recording that goes with it where you hear the guys going, "Hey, does anybody know what this is? What's going on here?"
Can we hear that?
I'm on. Oh, okay. I don't know.
Okay, the sound is terrible.
Yeah.
They need better mics.
Honestly, that's
Do
the
we
way
have
it sounds when
podcast
you're
mics?
working up there. But
Oh,
anyway,
I'm sure, but he's saying, what is that? I don't know. We're having a hard time locking onto it.
Right.
Right. This is the video operator. So the following week after this happens, this video is taken. The ranking guy who had been there the week before and saw this thing flying, he takes us in this. When you go on the range through this one gate here, it goes up a little ways, and then there's a cantonment area. It's got a very small place where you can change your tires, get gas, just minor maintenance to get your butt home if you have a car that's busted. And then in the back of that cantonment area, there's 2 huts that look like campers, really, glorified campers. So the video operators are in the one that's off to the northeast of the cantonment, and in the very corner of it. And the ranking guy just says, we all have to go in here. We're going to go talk to the video operators. We have to do this. And this was because the week prior, everybody came back to garrison or back to our unit, and they had seen this thing, and they were all talking about this UFO. So we go in there, and there's the video operator. He has us all write our names down, whether we were there and saw it the first week or not. Then he makes us all sit down and watch that video. And he says, do you know what this is? And we're like, no. And then he just said, okay, thank you. And then we, after everybody that was there saw it and wrote their name down, we were allowed to leave. And that was all that was required. And so I was like, well, what was that all about? But then as I'm exiting, this lady that had been sitting against the wall on the far part of this little hut that we were in, and she grabs my arm and she just says, there's somebody on the range. Don't talk to him. And she was really, really freaked out. And I'm like, thanks, strange, freaky lady. Got it. And I'm like, whatever. So we all hop out. We get in the vehicles and then start taking off towards Quartz Mountain, because right at that cantonment area, there's a hard right. There's a hard right that goes off to Quartz Mountain. And about half a mile to a mile down that road, it's all dirt road up, by the way, there's this guy. It looks like he's wearing a uniform like we are. He got battle dress uniform on. So he sees us and he starts to look like he's running, and he's got this really weird run, like his arms are kind of flailing behind him. It's like he was running against the hurricane wind, and it was like he was going to fall over at any time. And I was like, yeah, it's a bit windy today, but it ain't that bad. So it looked really strange. And then I began to notice his skin tone looked like he might be hypothermic. And I'm thinking, oh, crap, this dude's been out here. It's freaking freezing out here, because it was a very cold day, and the wind was blowing. It was, those cold days where it didn't matter how many layers you had on. And so as we're getting closer, I'm talking to the ranking guy. Hey, we need to slow down. So anyway, I'm thinking, this guy's probably in big trouble. I need to pull off my jacket. I need to give him something to get warm real quick. So I'm starting to do that, and we're approaching, and by the time I get my jacket most of the way off, he's right there at the corner of the front of the car. And
So he looks pale? Is that what you're saying?
He looked like an albino with a very bluish kind of undertone. If you could imagine,
So you're assuming you're immediately associating that with he's freezing.
Yeah, because that's all I could equate it to.
Right.
And then as I'm starting to open my door to try to administer aid to this guy, the dude in the front passenger seat screams he's got no ears. And I thought that was pretty rude, because I was like, the guy's in trouble.
Does he have a hat on? He's
got a hat on, and he's got BDUs that look absolutely clean, pristine. And when you're uprange, you do not wear your cleanest uniform. You're in a dirty environment. You wear your scuffed up boots. You don't take them with you.
So he's got clean battle dress uniform.
Everything.
United States military
very
uniform.
Out of place. Yeah, it looks very out of place when I finally do it. But anyway, I step out onto the roadway, and this guy screams that he's got no ears. And I just thinking it's really rude. And then I close the door and I look up, and he's got no freaking ears, and his eyes are twice as big. And I'm like, yeah, what the hell did I just walk into? This guy's not from around
How
here.
far away from him are you?
Probably from me to
Just a few
Logan.
feet.
Yeah, just talking distance.
Okay.
And I'm starting to freak out, but then he starts to talk to me, and it's not my language, but it's coming to the understanding is like coming into my mind about every word he's saying.
So he's actually saying words.
He's saying words, but it doesn't sound like anything I've heard before.
But you're understanding what he's saying.
But I'm understanding. So I know there's a telepathic thing going on here, and it calms me down at the same time, because I'm having to respond to him. And he's like, hello, I'm having trouble with my craft. I need some repair material. Do you know where I could find some tritium? And this is what he's talking to me about. And I'm like, you mean titanium? Because I didn't know anything about tritium at the time. But titanium, he's like, no, it's not it. And I'm like, well, at this point in my career, I had just left the program. So I knew where Dreamland was. And I pointed to the mountain range because you can see for days in the desert. But I pointed towards the mountain range and I said, Dreamland's just over there. And this wave of emotion hit me like disgust. Like, I am not going to talk to those barbarians and murderers. You know. And
wow. So he was saying that to you, like his reaction to going to the military base was,
exactly. Yeah.
He
did not like it. He said, I am not going to talk to those people. And then I was like, well, shoot.
And it was barbarians and murderers?
He literally, that was what he called them, yes. And mentally, that's what it was. But the emotion.
Tritium, is this a real thing?
Well, that's what, I've had a lot of friends. There's analysts also that were on the top secret network that were trying to help me understand what material.
We were throwing everything at him. We're like, is it this? Is it this? And he's
and then
like,
finally,
no.
That's the one. When they hit tritium, I was like, that's what it was. That's what he said.
And what is tritium?
It's a type of, well, can he bring it up on the?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it should pop up on Wikipedia pretty quick. But it has some properties that probably would work.
Tritium. But are you saying tritium?
Yeah, tritium is, that's the stuff that's in Loom. Like in your watch, when your watch glows, that's you know they make those where they're basically like radioactive isotopes that stay lit. So like if you get like a Marathon watch, Marathon makes military watches, and it doesn't need like this watch. You need the light, and the light charges the loom, and then when it's dark out, you could read the hands for like a few hours.
It's the thing that they used to put on the end of the guns, right?
Exactly, they still do. A lot, like SIG has them.
Now,
on
look
their
up
guns.
tritium also. Put an
Tritium
end in
is
there.
just a lot.
I did that. That's not giving me much.
So tritium, chunky glow in the dark glitter.
Yeah,
What is that?
these are all these are game websites.
Oh, I see.
I don't know.
Okay, so it's tritium. Then I may be mispronouncing.
But tritium that's that radioactive isotope.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that emits light.
Yep.
So it emits a weak form of radiation.
Yes.
A rare radioactive isotope of hydrogen with a half-life of 12.3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this is what he's asking me for.
So he's asking you for that stuff? Tritium?
Yep. And I'm like, I don't know where to get.
Oh, look at that. It's used in boosted fission weapons and thermonuclear weapons. Oh, great.
That sounds pretty sure, right?
I wonder what the fuck it's doing on your wrist. Is there anybody...
This is what the best image that we have of what he could have looked like.
Oh, boy. Can you send that to Jamie?
Yeah, I don't know Jamie's number, but we'll find a way to.
Is that an iPhone or an Android?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that an iPhone?
If I
this
had
is
my
an
phone, I would, but it's
airdrop
out
it to
there,
me.
I think.
Yeah, airdrop it to Jamie. Do you know how to do that?
There was
How
that
dare
one.
you not know how to do
Oh,
that?
and there's a
Your
three-dimensional.
guy works with UFOs. You better know how to do that.
Well, there's a three-dimensional image of the craft as well that is really spot on from what I saw that day.
Keep it
Yeah.
Because not only did I see this guy running towards us and talking to him, but off the shoulder on the north side of the roadway, that's where the craft was just resting on the desert floor. And I got a really good look at it at that point. And this guy did a 3D rendering of the description, and it's spot on as I've ever seen. It's almost perfect.
So he asks you for tritium. You tell him this is what it looked like.
This is what the guy looked like. Pretty close to it.
Yo.
The nose was a little bit rounder on the end, but that was a really good rendition. But yeah, his eyes almost came out to here on the temple.
Wow. And that would freak me out.
It freaked me out. I mean, honestly, I'm not an easy guy to get freaked out, but that really put that like you just saw an alligator pop up out of the water kind of thing.
Right. So when you tell him go to Dreamland, it says I'm not going to go where those murderers and barbarians are, and then what happens?
And he said no. So I was like, well, where else can I possibly point him to? Because I'm like, I don't know any metallurgists or whatever. So I'm thinking to myself, and I relayed to him. I said, well, I'm taking college classes down in the city of Vegas, Las Vegas, at the community college. But I have a geophysical professor that I'm taking a class from, maybe he has a metallurgist friend, and he's like,
So you're
"Oh,
thinking at this time, though, it's a metal.
I am, yes.
Right, because you're thinking it's some kind of like titanium, some type of...
Right. And there's also when he...
This is the 3D image of what the craft looks
That
like?
is almost as spot on as I've ever seen. That is about it right there. That's almost exactly what I saw rusting on the desert floor.
And so you're trying to find different people that you can connect this being to.
Yeah.
And what is it saying to you while you're...
He thought that was a good idea, I think, or he was like, I mean, made him, he had that kind of, and he wanted to take action, so he doesn't really even say goodbye. He just kind of turns and off he goes back to his craft. And I'm thinking, well, okay. And I get back in the car, and sometime during that conversation with this entity, I remembered looking over at my friends in the car, and they had the weirdest look on their face, like they were all zonked out, totally zombied, like they couldn't even, they were just drooling on themselves.
Were they just because they were flabbergasted, or was it because something was going on?
Well, I figured out that maybe it was done by this entity because none of them seemed to even remember the incident. Only a few people seems to remember that we stopped, that we had talked to somebody on the roadway, but it was mainly the people that were in the back of the convoy.
So they didn't see it up close like you did?
Right, like we did. The people
so
that
how
were
far
right
away
there,
would they be?
they'd probably be a good 2 car lengths behind us.
That's still enough to detect whether or not someone looks blue, though, right?
Correct, and that's probably what they saw. But you know me, I'm kind of wide and I'm big. I was very muscular back then.
And you're standing in front of this thing.
So they'd have a difficult time because this guy stood about a good half foot shorter than me. And so they probably could see his arms from time to time, maybe catch a glimpse of his face or something. So they probably didn't get a very good view because if you're looking at me, I'm standing right next to my door. Mm-hmm. And they're behind me kind of almost obfuscated by just the angle that they're looking at him. So all the windows are tinted in those vehicles. Mm-hmm. And they can't just see through the windows right to whichever on the left.
And the people that were in the car with you, you feel like something happened to them that like froze them?
They did look like that, yeah. Like you said, just a look of just utter like, like
the guy who said he has no ears. Does that guy have a recollection?
That guy they can't find.
They can't find him.
No, I've tried. I was asked by the UAP task force, David Grush, to reach out to these folks, the people in the car. I got a hold of one, got a hold of him on LinkedIn, and we started talking. And just hey, how's the wife? How's the kids? That kind of stuff.
How about that UFO we met?
And as soon as I did that, the guy just disappears and ghosts me, and I don't know what happened, but he was the Rankin guy in the car. The guy that was the passenger, nobody can seem to find him because they did try to verify the people in the car, and I gave the names. And the young lady that was off to my right, I don't know if they contacted her, but I've heard from other people that were part of this background investigation about my story. They found 2 people that verified my story. And I don't know who they are. They've been told to keep their mouths shut by somebody, and I'm kind of pissed about that. But I think James Fox knows who they are and knows exactly who told them to shut up as well. But
what was that incident where James Fox and you were on a show? What's that?
I shouldn't have said that James Fox knows the guy who told him to shut up, because I'm not sure if that's
you think
true.
You might know. So this thing, does it tell you why it needs the tritium? It just says it needs it to fix its craft?
Yeah. Well, along with that, this is the other part that was telepathic. When he mentions this metal and the part that he is
But it's
needing,
not metal, right? Do we think it's not metal, or do you think maybe it's a metal that we don't have?
I think it's something or an alloy that we don't particularly make a lot of and or just can't make. But when he spoke about this, the telepathic image was almost like he opened a Sears catalog in my head that had all the specs for this part that he was needing fixed. And it was the strangest thing. It like described some of the nano channeling of electrical and electromagnetic stuff that was flowing through it that caused these toroidal energies to emanate on both sides of this piece of the equipment.
So you, because it was describing it to you, you all of a sudden had access to all this information, like you downloaded it into your head.
It was like me, if you and I were telepathic and we were talking about a science project.
And he just uploaded all the information.
Yeah, and I could just give you all that instead of talking it out. That's what he did.
Did you then try to talk to someone and relay that information and like download it?
I've had, well, once, because in the forum, we have scientists and stuff like that yes, were very interested to get me in a room and talk to me about this. I had people from DARPA wanting to talk to me, people from threats departments all over the place that wanted to know more. And even when I talked to Jack Sarfati and Gary Nolan about this stuff, I was telling them things before they even opened their mouth about, like when I talked to Gary Nolan, I just said, you got that part, and you know that it has that nano-sized atomic level layering that can't be reproduced unless you actually physically are putting these atoms one at a time next to each other. And he's like, yeah, that's it, you know. So I'm telling him this, and he already knew. But that was the first thing. And so that's why I knew that what I'd been given in my head, he was giving me that high sign that, yes, that's exactly what I analyzed, is that piece of material I had. It sounds just like what this guy described to you and gave to you telepathically, that there's these really minute little things that create toroidal forces. They're doing things at a very small level. And then when I talked to Jack Sarfati later, and he's got all these fantastical physics equations about how things work. And I'm looking through his documents, and no, I can't do the math, but I can understand what he's doing with it. And I just flat out asked him, I said, so the smaller you get, because there's always that resistance level when it comes to, you know, putting in energy and then losing it due to, you know, atrophy and all these other, or is that the right word for it? Anyway, the whole thing was just that when you get smaller, it actually reverses itself. Is that now you get even more power out of things if you have a small enough energy source that works at it's kind of like miniaturizing a fusion device of some kind.
And so did you talk to someone from DARPA? You said these people wanted to talk to you?
I emailed back and forth. I gave them what information I could. But
they didn't want to interview you? They wanted to just email?
At the time, that's the way it went, yeah. I've had a couple of meetings, though, at different places that I can't discuss. But they did talk to me, yes.
And is that information still in your head?
Yeah.
So does it seem like a memory, or what does it seem like in your head?
To me, it's like a very clear, like this is, it's just like a picture that never goes away.
Could you draw that picture if someone gave you a pad and a pen?
Yeah, I've already done it, yeah.
Yeah. Is that available online? Can someone see that?
I don't know if I pulled that down off the Top Secret network, but I can reproduce it. All I did was just recreate it in like a PowerPoint draw thing. But
does it remain in your head like normal memory? Like, you know, like you learn certain things in school and they stay in your head?
The telepathy, it felt absolutely normal. I mean, there was no headache, there was no dizziness, no buzzing.
What I mean is the memory the same as a regular memory, or is it clear?
No, I remember it as just being part of the conversation, just like a normal conversation, yes. That's what it feels like.
But it just somehow or another, in that conversation, he put this information in your head.
Exactly.
And then it just leaves?
And then he leaves when he realizes that, you know, maybe there's some other venues, maybe me mentioning that there might be a metallurgist on staff somewhere that prompted him to think, oh, yeah, maybe I should go research this or that, and then maybe I'll find somebody that I could talk to. Something like that may have happened.
Did you get a sense of where this thing was from?
Yeah, there was a star map from that day, but it also relates to the lunch hour after we started going back up to Black Mountain. I had a very strong compunction to go eat my lunch outside, even though it was deathly cold. And I don't know what prompted me to do that again. Maybe he was giving me a telepathic message, but after I walked about 150 feet down the road, the dirt road, from the top of Black Mountain, I don't remember what happened after that. All I have are two images that keep on flashing back. I remember seeing the schoolhouse from about 150 feet above, or 200 feet above the schoolhouse. I remember looking at the rooftop. And the only other memory is I've got this star map in my head. And David Grush made me reproduce that on a PowerPoint slide. And I handed that in to him because I have no idea what it was. But he's like, do you understand what this is? And I was like, no, I have no idea. He's like, do you know what star constellations are? I said, I know what the Big Dipper is. That's about it. And he's like, this is the constellation Leo. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. And so he's like, yeah, this is a really close rendition of that. And I'm like, well, that's kind of cool that I could reproduce it just out of my head, and not even know what the heck it was. But I did know it was a star system.
And for some reason, you just felt compelled to draw this particular star system.
Well, just after David Grush asked me to, yes.
And was there a specific planet in that star system?
Yeah, the red star. That's kind of like, there's a part of the Leo system that has like this, like very sharp turn into it. I guess it's like it looks like a nose, or part of a triangle, and at the tip of that is the red star, and it's reticuli, I think. But anyway, that one seemed
Wasn't that what they always say about aliens, Zeta Reticuli?
Yeah.
And then the strangest thing about this is what I'm talking about when it comes to telepathy. When you're sharing that mind space, there's some residue memory there, because Dave kept pressing me on it, and he said, "Can you tell me about the red star?" And at first I'm like, "Well, no." And I was like, and all of a sudden some memory came back, and I was like, "Holy crap! Yeah, that's where he's from. That's his home star system, and he came from there. That's his home." And then we just went on from there. And he said, "Did you know that they've actually just now discovered a few years ago that there's exoplanets around that star?" And I was like, "No, I had no idea." So all these things started coming together at that point. And that's when they started saying, "Okay, well, we're going to do some more vetting." And within about a month or so, they were bringing me to Congress, and everything else happened after that.